What is up, everybody? Welcome to Free. That was a little loud, huh? But whatever. Welcome to Free Lady, you guys. Welcome to this wonderful podcast. I'm your host, brittneyfmcwethy. This is a platform where I tell my story and share other people's stories to inspire you to be the best person that you can be, to love yourself, to accomplish anything that you want in your life, and more importantly, you're here to find your community, right? So if you dig somebody's story, reach out to them and have that person help you get to your goals, your dreams, your whatever you want, your relationships even. So I'm really excited to have Kirk on here. Say hi.
Hey, Brittany, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
We're sitting in the same city, but
I know.
miles apart.
I
This
know.
is a
It's kind of
special
funny.
occasion. Colorado Spring redheads here,
Yes,
chatting it
I
up.
know. I know. We've already, like, you guys, if just so you know, we do both live in Colorado Springs, and if I had a studio, he'd be sitting right next to me. I don't have that yet, but that's okay, right? It's
Hmm.
all growing and everything like that. But it would have been really fun to do in person because I just had
Hmm.
done 3 interviews in person a couple weeks ago, and it was like so different, but super, super cool. I'm so glad to have Kirk on here. We met in the Lion's Den. Most of you guys know that I meet most of my people in here, but no matter where we are, we're always a tribe. And Kirk's story he's just really built his company, who he is, his brand, and I just love it. And yes, we're both have red hair. He's natural though. So
Yeah, it's all
you know what I
real.
mean? So we're gonna first start off with 3 things that we're grateful for. I am grateful for just having this podcast space. It might not be perfect, but it's here, it's working, and it's just going to get better from here. I'm thankful to have Kirk on here because I've been wanting him to be on here, share a story, how he got to where he is today. And I'm also thankful for the journey of life because every day is different. Every day throws a curveball. And the more we work harder to be the best that we can be, like the journey is even more and more and more, but it's so rewarding. It's just crazy, you know?
Hmm.
What are you grateful for, Kirk?
So, one thing I do every single day in my G code for my gratitude is freedom. Um, I think it's often overlooked, our freedom and what we have in this country. That's
Right.
number one. Number two is the opportunity to be here with you today. What most people don't know is this is my first ever podcast. So, exciting opportunity. It's one of my goals for the year to get 2 podcasts under my belt. This is my first one. And then lastly, friends. Um, just going through life, I've had some issues personally this last couple of days and reached out to some friends, and they were there to give me feedback, support, and assure me that, hey, I've been there. So, you know, that's what good friends are for, and I'm glad they're here for me.
Absolutely. And then we'll cut and good friends will also, let me point this out real quick. Good friends are going to point out on your shit. Like, if they're not going to point it out to you, and it can be in a loving way, like I can be like, Kirk, like, make sure you're looking at it this way. I love you. You're not looking at it this way, but look at it this way because you might expand here and you might not even know it until you try it, stuff like that. So, uh,
Hmm.
I'm always here too. So,
Yeah.
but I'm glad you
Yes.
have great friends. So, Kirk, who are you and what do you do?
Who am I? So I live in Colorado Springs. As of almost 12 months ago, I am a full-time owner operator of a franchise called Managed Mode. So going back a couple of years, I worked in corporate America for 8 years, selling and renting construction equipment for United Rentals. Decided, hey, you know what? Learning from the Lions Den and Sean and so many other people that we've connected with, corporate life is not my ultimate goal where I want to be. Let me expand my horizons, take on this entrepreneurial journey. Found a franchise broker. She, through the whole process, discovered Managed Mode. I'm like, you know what? From what I've learned about business, it's reoccurring. It's not that one time shop thing. It's gonna keep coming back. I enjoy landscaping. I own a home here in Colorado Springs. I've redone front yard, backyard, a lot of it myself, and just discovered that passion. Even going back, you can ask my mom. When I was 5 years old, I would pick up a rake and rake up the leaves in our yard in Maryland. And she probably knew back then, like, this is something. And then
Yeah.
just thought of it now, like in fifth grade, I was a part of a rose club at school. And it was like, honestly, you laugh, like it's kind of cheesy, kind of
I
corny, but
wasn't it.
but it was just me and I think four other guys. There were no women. It was just,
Oh, really?
like nothing, not say women have to be a part of it, but it's like, it was just four guys, just like
Yeah.
in Rose Club learning about the plant and how to trim them. So I think these little stepping stones, and maybe without me even realizing it, have
Wow.
led me to be in this industry. And so going back to a year ago, was looking at my business, kind of seeing where it was going. I had an employee for a little bit, let him go, and then was kind of doing both jobs for a couple of months
Wow.
secretly. My corporate life didn't actually know what I was doing, and I was like, I'm seeing growth with just a little bit of time. You know what? Pull the band-aid off, jump into the deep end. Let's give it a shot. So I'm almost 52 weeks, 1 year at the mark where I left corporate America. I'm enjoying that, that balance, the opportunity, setting my own schedule. I had more skills than I realized
Yeah.
going into this to, prepare me for this opportunity.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
And congratulations on, pulling the Band-Aid off, being in this business for a year. And let me tell you something. If you guys, follow him on social media, which I highly recommend, because what he's also really skilled in is marketing. You like constantly are having these ads that you create on social media about your business, and they're also really creative. I'm
Hmm.
always like, and people that I do, when they come and see me with hair and they talk about landscaping, I'm like, go see Kirk, go see him. Like, he knows what he's
Hmm.
doing. You seem very professional, even though I know you in person, but
Hmm.
like, what you're doing is like, you look at things very differently and you advertise yourself very differently. And that's what makes you the best at what you do.
Thank you. Yes, we
And I
have to.
yeah,
You
I think
know.
it's gonna be keep getting better, and it really shows how you have invested in yourself to learn all these things.
Correct. You always got to keep learning. I mean, that's the thing is like, not only do I want to instill in your head that, hey, if someone needs rocks, weeds, tree trimming, Kirk's the person to call, but I also want to like teach you something. I've had friends reach out to me on because I have something called Mode Mondays. Every Monday I do a landscaping post, and someone's like, I didn't actually know that, or I never thought of that before. It's like, and that's the thing. Like, I think the one that stuck in my head was midsummer. This person had their weeds and grass, 3 feet high, and I'm back there, helping one of the guys cut it, and there was a family of bunny rabbits in their yard. It's like, not only just, who would have thought that, that's going to be their new home,
Yeah,
so unfortunately we took care of the grass and they had to find a new home.
right.
But like, that's something you don't always think about. So those little things that, every industry has, that it just takes the time to set a reminder on your phone,
Yeah,
step aside for 10-15 minutes, make the post,
yeah,
and share it.
yeah. I love it. And you also bring your life in there too, which, I really admire because, you're not trying to hide who you are. You're like, this is what we do, like yesterday, I loved your posts and your face, your facial expression. So you guys, like, Colorado has like serious bipolar weather, like serious, like yesterday or the day before, it was 60-degree weather. And then yesterday it was windy as all hell. And then it was snowing. And then it was blue skies. And then it was snowing again. And this is what you have to deal with, like, as an outdoor business owner.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
was
had it on my
like,
schedule. Yeah, I had it on my schedule. I needed to go to Denver, visit some of my clients' properties, and then I had to got to see my girlfriend afterwards. But it was like, of all the days, yesterday was gorgeous. Today was okay. This weekend's going to be warm.
yeah,
And today, it wasn't really sticking on the roads, but there's an inch of snow on the ground, and I got to look for leaves and pine needles and how to price cleanups. I'm
right.
like, you know what? You can't stop. You got to keep going, stick
Yeah.
to your plan. And you know what? I'm glad I did. It was a little cold. I
Yeah.
had to change my wiper blades at one point. I kept putting those off. That was an unfortunate obstacle in my day,
Yeah.
but got through it, And then, now we're going to be complaining in 3 months that it's too hot. And we
Yeah.
would have
Dude.
taken these windy, snowy days.
Yeah. Well, I think what's great about owning your own business, right? Like you learn as you know your skills, you know you're passionate, but you also learn skills as you go. Like maybe I need to do this and offer this plan with this type of weather. And I see that you do that in your posts. I've seen you grow like so much, and it's really inspiring. First of all, of like quitting your job that pays you money and has the insurance, because as you know, as self-employed,
Hmm.
insurance kind of blows. I mean, let's be real. But it's so inspiring to have you on here talking about ripping that band-aid off, because people are so scared to do that. So what were the things that you went through in your mind, and then what you were doing behind the scenes to really build that confidence to do what you're doing now?
So I gotta give one shout out. The first person that popped in my head when you asked that question. Some people may know him, some people may not, but Ryan Robbins. He's based in New Jersey.
Oh yeah.
Used to be in the Lions Den. He has Fireside America and the
Yes.
Pit. He somehow we connected. He's also a redhead. This
Yes, he
weird
is.
triangle here. So we somehow connected in the Lions Den. It's like, dude, let's get on a phone call. This is what I love doing, helping people see the opportunity and showing them that they can, using this term, rip the band-aid off. So we
Yeah.
hopped on a phone call, being a financial planner. He's like, hey, let's go over your money. Let's see what you guys like. Oh, you've got this much in your 401k. Take that out right now. Use that as your runway to
Huh.
build your business until you're getting some income. And I was like, wow, like I didn't even consider that as an option. It's like, yeah, there's fees and there's penalties and whatnot, but you're going to make that back over the course of your lifetime tenfold. And so
Right.
I give a lot of credit to him because he was the one that really pushed me to like see that it was actually doable.
Yeah.
And then also the other big moment was like once I already had that idea, I went to my dad, and like my dad and I are pretty close, but it was like I didn't know how he was going to respond. It's
Huh.
like he was kind of like the final checkbox in the whole process. And I called him and I was so nervous. And he's
Oh,
like, I said, honestly, it's a really good idea. I fully support, I approve and support that.
that's
And
so
that's when I knew I'm like, all right, it's going to happen. I'm going to, make the steps to start.
yeah.
Um, but like the other side of your question and your answer, everything I learned at United Rentals for 8 years from selling, management, time management, talking with customers, setting a schedule,
Mm.
being disciplined, being persistent. I learned so many skills from that job to prepare me for this today, more than I even realized.
Right.
So, it was definitely not a waste. I never considered those times to be a waste, but I was just being groomed without me or them realizing it to be a business owner. And that's
Yeah.
obviously not their goal because they're a corporation, but what I took from it. And then also self development, joining the Lions Den, doing 75 hard, all these skills that, you and I have seen people do all built up. And
Yeah.
it was honestly a great time to do it.
That's so cool. And I love that you said like, you know, you don't, I don't know if you said the word regret or not, but like you don't regret like everything that you learned coming up to this place, because I really feel that way. I mean, if we live our lives with regret, like what are we doing? We're just living in
Hmm.
guilt and shame, because everything that we do teaches us something. Everything that we do that's teaching us, that is presented to us, is always going to be for something else. You know what I mean? It's always
Hmm.
going to be for that next door to open, as long as you are putting in the work, the dedication, the passion to letting go of things to accept that door opening for you. And I
Hmm.
think that's exactly what you did. And I totally know who Ryan is with the Fireside Pit. I think what he's doing is super great. His face is all over the place. I love what he's talking
Hmm.
about, sharing. And I just love all these like groups that are happening because of Sean Whalen and the Lions.
Hmm.
It's a beautiful thing, because the more that we present love for ourselves and love for what we're doing, it just becomes like this miraculous tight family all over the country, all over the world. It's super cool. And so
Hmm.
it's just, I love seeing people win, and I'm so proud of what you did. But I want to ask you, like, so you were really close with your dad. What made you so nervous, like telling him?
it's a big decision, like a big life change,
Yeah.
you know? And like like I said, we're not like super close, but we're not also like super distant. But we
Yeah.
just have like certain things we talk about. And that's, like when I decided to start the franchise, open a franchise, I didn't tell my parents that either. I was like, this is my decision. I'm gonna find my own, loan, make the decision, go through the whole process. So once I finally opened, my sister knew the whole time. My sister and I are super close. And so
Aw.
like, all right, I'm gonna tell mom and dad. She's like, really? How are you gonna do it? I'm just like, just get on the phone with them, have a three-way conversation, just tell them. And they were surprised, but then not surprised.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'll say they were shocked, but not surprised.
Yeah.
And so then, my dad's like, hey, now that you told me this, can you sort of keep me as like a consultant? And like, if you've got questions or issues, like, let's just chat. I want to be involved now because he's retired and he was,
Yeah.
very successful in business, has that experience.
Mhm.
So, and we've continued that like once a month, at least once a month, we kind of chat like, hey, how was your month? Send me your financials. What are you dealing with? And just totally like different perspective than what I was expecting.
That's so cool. It's really interesting how things change when you're open and honest and you're vulnerable.
Hmm.
I mean, instead of hiding and getting around it, it makes you feel guilty, it feels shameful, and then they feel hurt and, not heard and everything like that. And then it just becomes like this toxic thing that you have to like undo. And, I think it's really important to share with the audience is that if you become vulnerable with yourself first, then you know how to be vulnerable with other people. And like being vulnerable and open and honest, you're never going to lie to anybody. You are who you are. And I think it's really cool that in return from that, your dad's like, well, that's pretty cool. Let me help you and support you in this and give you ideas. Did you watch him as a child like grow his own business? Did he have his own business? Like what did he do that inspired you, whether you knew it or not?
So I know, like growing up, kind of knew what he did. Like, there's a funny story when we were in like third or fourth grade. He was into clothing manufacturing, and
Uh,
the company he worked for and partnered with was into urban like hip hop wear. And at the time, I didn't know who P Diddy was. And so my sister and I would tell people he's making clothes for Eminem because he was the hot artist at the time. And my
yeah.
dad's like, no, it's not Eminem, it's P Diddy. I'm like, I don't know who P Diddy is. I know Eminem. It makes me cool. Leave me alone. Like, you know. But again, I would see him travel to New York once a month. He'd go to China to visit the factory,
Yeah.
once or twice a year. So kind of got a glimpse of what he did,
Yeah.
but it was also unique because he worked from home.
Right.
So everything he did was email, phone calls. I think probably back in the 90s and 2000s, it was before videos,
Yeah.
but got a little bit of a glimpse of what he did.
That's really, really cool. And was that inspiring to you as a kid? Like, did it inspire you to want to like work hard or was it scary? Because that, when you're a kid and you're watching your parents what you do, I mean, that's what right?
Mhm.
And then you sometimes we can get programmed into doing just that instead of being ourselves and, doing what we want. Was it like hard? And also, was it hard for you did he work a lot? Like, you know what I mean? Um, but just again, like, did you find that inspiring as a child?
I think without knowing it, yes.
Yeah.
Because like I mentioned, he was home. So he
Yeah.
was there when we'd wake up and leave for school. Growing up being a tennis player, he was there to sometimes take us to practice or to see trainers.
Cool.
Just having that, I hate the word work life balance, but being
Right.
present for us.
Right.
I think definitely with stuck in the back of my head to where I'm at now.
Yeah.
It's like if I want to go to the park on Monday at 2 o'clock and walk with a friend, I have the ability to do that. Where in a normal 9 to 5 job, you just can't cut loose for an hour and
Right.
take a personal hour.
Right.
So and I think that's kind of what, without realizing it, motivated me to become an entrepreneur and be a business owner.
Yeah.
It just took a little bit of like brewing to actually get me to
Yeah.
where I'm at. I didn't graduate college like I'm gonna go do this right now.
Yeah. Who needs college anyways? I mean, it's such a
Different conversation.
that's a
You talked about
not a
Jen and Nate Solomon. You got into that. We're not going to get into that
yeah,
today.
yeah, of course. But I love that like, I look up to your parents doing that. I mean, my dad worked a shit ton and you know, he went back to school, I think like 3 times because he was an engineer. He was
Mhm.
traveling for work, he was gone all the time, but he also like he was a designer for Diamondback bikes back in the day before they got bought out by China. And so it was just so fascinating to see him like he was constantly, you know, building things at home, inventing things at home, you know, going to work, like building, making bicycles, doing wheelchairs, like you name it. He designed the retractable syringe for hospitals back in the day.
Huh.
So brilliant. And it just was so neat to see how hard he worked for himself, but how hard he worked for our family. And I just find that, you know, looking back, like, I mean, he was always gone, but at the same time, like when he was home, like he was so dedicated to his kids. And it was such a beautiful thing to see. And I love that your dad was present for all the things that you did in sports and who you were, and also
Mhm.
showing you subconsciously, like, you know, what hard work looks like working, you know, with Pete. Pete. So funny.
I can laugh about it now.
Yeah, I mean, because that means he was, like, working with when he was wearing, you know, those big old blow up clothing, like, I mean, that was, like, the thing back then with P. Diddy, so that's, like, what I thought about right away. I'm like, "Did your dad wear these clothes too?" I'm curious.
I I did.
You did?
Well, yeah, it's like,
Oh, heck
what,
yeah.
like, middle schooler doesn't wanna just have, like, trendy
Yeah,
clothes, and so my dad would shoot an email off to the factory and say, "Hey, send some mediums and some larges for my son to sample," and I'd
like,
come home from school one day, and my bed would just be littered with 12 samples for me just to wear, and the next season, I get a couple more, and
that's so
life
fun.
was good. Life was good.
That's so fun, and that probably, like, put this creative gene in you whether you knew it or not either, you know what I mean? And so, but I love, like, you know, speaking of, like, tennis and your parents being present and, like, being part of community, it seems like you've always been that way. Like, I know I've always been that way too, like, playing soccer and then never doing anything for a long time, and then finding CrossFit and having this community, having the community
Mhm.
like in hair and investing in myself and everything like that. Um, it really kind of has worked all together to push me where I am today, you know. And like I know you do CrossFit, so I want to talk about that just for a second because I know that CrossFit was one of the biggest things in my career. Because it also, you know, helped me love myself. That was part of the thing of having confidence, and then that turned into having more confidence in hair. But CrossFit like changed my life, you know. I mean, I wasn't doing shit before that. I stopped playing soccer when I was a junior in high school due because I had to work, and then I hated going to the gym, and I was like, I just needed a community because soccer was a team, and I'm like, going to the gym
Yes.
by yourself is not really fun. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I do it now because I have, you know, the skills and, you know, the passion to keep myself in shape. But CrossFit just like really brought a sense of community and really taught me, and I'm sure with you too, to push really hard. Like it's also like very mentally fulfilling. Do you feel like that helped you in your career, in your community, and with who you are? Because I really feel like CrossFit can make an impact like that.
1000%. For me, I get up at 4. I'm at CrossFit a little bit before 5 a.m. So it keeps me consistent. It
Yeah.
keeps me fit. You used the word community a bunch of times. Like, the majority of my good friends are at CrossFit or have come from CrossFit.
Yep.
So I couldn't imagine where my social life, and again, going back to what I'm thankful for, my freedom or my friends, if I went to Lifetime or Gold's Gym or whatever people have in their area where, oh, that's that guy and that's that girl, like, and
Yeah.
not know their name. I don't know what they do. I don't know what their kids' names are, if they
Yeah.
have dogs. Like,
Yeah.
CrossFit really is, I mean, a community. It's special. I mean,
Yeah.
it's expensive. We're getting our prices raised at the end of the year. It's like, yeah, it would be nice to spend that money somewhere else, but
Right.
no way, no way. Where else would I go? You
Right.
know?
Again, you're investing in yourself, and then you have this
Hmm.
community that supports you. You know what I mean? And what I also have found with like when I did CrossFit and everything like that, I mean, I have the best is of friends from CrossFit, and we're still friends to
Mhm.
this day. But it also launched certain areas of my career because I go to the gym every day. People want me to do their hair. You know what I mean? You go to the gym,
Mhm.
like, I'm going to use him for my landscaping 100%.
Yep.
And that's what I feel like in every community that like I've joined has brought that space to me, and it just is an expansion. And I really honestly feel like it pushes you to do even better. You know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
in CrossFit, it's so competitive. I mean, I'm very, very and so like it's that competitive, humbling nature that you learn in sports that actually kind of mold you into how you push in your career as well. I really think they're connected in, some shape or form.
Yeah, we talked about before we started
Yeah.
chatting on camera about goals.
Yeah.
I have a goal board in my room with a whole section dedicated just to fitness between lifting numbers,
Yeah.
races, the stuff like that. And it just carries over like, well, I'm not going to have a lifting goal if I don't have a work goal. I'm not
Right.
going to have a work goal if I don't have a personal goal. So
Yes.
it teaches you more, probably more out the gym than in the gym.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, it's so nice that, when you have, like, I didn't know this when I was doing CrossFit. I had goals all the time for what I was going to be lifting or competing or whatever, whatever. And I didn't realize I was already doing that. And, learning that from Sean Whalen with, core four and everything like that. It's like, well, I can apply that to everything in my life, my relationships, as you know, this business, your mind
Hmm.
and your body. And then what's even cooler, like when you write it down, it's not like, I want to lift heavier this month. Well, what does that mean? No, I want to
Yes.
actually have a 355-pound deadlift. How do I get there? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And that's just such as life too. Like, I want to make this amount of money this year or next month. What does that look like every single day?
Yeah.
And I feel like, being successful, that is so important. And you show that in your business. So my other question is, so you had an employee that you fired. Let's talk about that.
Yes.
What did you learn from that? And how did you grow from that?
Someone asked me that question today, actually. It's ironic that you're asking me pretty much the same question.
Whoa.
So, luckily, my answers are sort of fresh in my head. Um, but it was definitely the reason it didn't work out was a lot due to me and the fact that I was trying to keep my franchise quiet. So I put a lot of responsibility and pressure on him to grow
Right.
my business by himself. Like, hey, go out and make these amount of sales calls per day, put out this many estimates. If you got a question about landscaping or the CRM, unfortunately, either I'm busy or I don't know the answer. Can you call corporate and get the answer? And
Wow.
it's like, as anyone, I think he was 23 or 24 at the time. It's like someone freshly out of college, like they need the attention, they need grooming. It's like, here I am, a very successful sales rep for United Rentals, but I'm neglecting to give him the training and experience that I've already gained,
Uh,
and it's just, yeah, I mean, I really unfortunately set him up to fail.
mhm, mhm.
I think there were some flaws on his side in terms of work ethic and whatnot, but it probably fueled that lack of work ethic from what I was already not doing to make him
Right.
succeed.
Right.
So, and also when I wanted to launch day one with my franchise with a sales rep,
Right.
so I put this pressure on to like, well, I want to launch in a couple of weeks. I'm going to hire him versus like, hey, you know what? I should have delayed my launch. Well, I'm not quite ready. I don't have the right person in place. I'm going
Hmm.
to push it back a month or two until, you know, more candidates come across, or I get that super warm, fuzzy feeling.
Yeah.
So, but you know what? You don't know what you don't know. And it was the first time I
Right.
ever hired somebody. I was just excited to launch. He had good energy. He was going to move across the country to work for me.
Yeah.
I look back on it now when we were flying to Seattle for training. He was sitting next to me on the airplane listening to a podcast about landscaping. He had a book. Like he started off so hot.
Yeah.
And had I like recognized that and respected that he was interested and ready to go and given him more of my time,
Right.
it would have been a different situation. But also, I may have been sitting here today. If he rock starred, and killed it the first couple of years,
Yeah.
where would I have been? You
Right.
know?
Right.
So everything kind of works out for a reason.
Yeah.
And I give him credit. Like, so another question, I was talking to a potential franchisee owner today for Managed Mode, and
Mhm.
he asked me like, "Hey, where do you find some of your workers?" And I was like, "Well, honestly, give my former employees some credit. My two main, companies that I work with came from him. He
Yeah.
found them either at a gas station or on Craigslist.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of good done during that time while I had the employee."
That's amazing. And I love, you know
Hmm.
what I love about this right now is that Kirk is taking full ownership of what, he's doing a lot, especially being a new business owner, because number one, you're humble. Number two, you're open and honest. Number three, you're not having an ego about it. There's a lot of businesses that will open and they will blame everybody else except themselves. If you are the owner, it is on you 100%. Period, said and done. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I love that you are taking ownership. You saw what could have happened, you learned from that. And so you could take all of that, and you're going to put that into your business now. You understand that, like, oh my gosh, I get to mold my employees this way. I get to teach them. They can learn from me, and they're just going to
Hmm.
be mini Kirks all over the place. You know
Good,
what
good or bad, I don't know.
you know um but like when you have someone that you're working for that is passionate about you growing as an employer, like that just like is you're gonna get so much drive from your employees, and if that experience didn't happen, you would have never known that, and you would have just like eventually probably would have learned it. But how neat that it was gifted to you early on to have that experience, to learn to take
Mhm.
full ownership at such a, young business, young age. I think it's like miraculous even to say, because it's really setting you up to be the best boss, to be the best owner that you can be, you know?
Sometimes I think failures are more important than successes,
Heck yeah.
right?
I
Yes.
agree. I agree,
Mhm.
because if we didn't fail, we wouldn't know how to get better at that particular thing. If I didn't fuck up all these people's hair back in the day, and I still mess people's hair up sometimes, just because of the fact that, sometimes clients just don't know what they want. And they're just like, "Bull," you know what I mean? You're
Mhm.
trying, and then, it's like, "Okay, that didn't work, let's try something else." But it's like, I used to get so butthurt by that, and now I'm just like, "Okay, cool, let's try this then." You know what I mean? Like, our
Mhm.
clients are gonna teach us things and help us grow, whether we understand it or not, and being humble about it is where that money is made. And
Yeah.
so I think that is just such a cool light bulb that you had in the beginning of your career with Managed Mode. Where do
Mhm.
you see your company taking off? Like, what is your goals and dreams for this company? Like, how do you want it to grow?
So obviously on my goal board, in my head, like I can see it. Like my goal for the year is to do $1 million
Yeah,
in gross revenue.
yeah,
So going back to my first year when I had my employee, we did I think $23,000 in sales that first year. Last year I jumped up to 407,000.
good.
And so my goal is basically two and a half times that to get to 1 million.
Hey,
And so it's a hefty goal, but I've really been focusing back on the process, following up, going back to your compliment earlier about marketing. I did have a commercial filmed back in the fall. It's
I,
been airing on Fox and then also NBC.
yeah,
So a lot of my other, I guess, coworkers or franchise owners are asking me like, how much are you spending? How much return have you gotten? And like again, it's for me, it's stepping back. It's not the immediate dollar signs that I'm chasing. I'm trying to build the brand, build
right.
recognition. So like not only do you think of me when it comes to social media, like, wait, I saw you on TV. So
Yeah,
my ultimate goal was if I were to walk into your hair studio tomorrow, be
yeah,
like, I know you from somewhere. Where do I know you from? Like maybe from TV. Like, I don't know. Like and just like
exactly.
build that
Exactly.
credibility.
Yeah. And like, this is really important what Kirk is talking about. Is that when you're building your brand, you're building you are your brand essentially. And so having him like put his face everywhere, it does cost money, right? Investing in our companies, It costs a lot of money, but it will always come back, especially if you have unconditional love behind it, right? So it's like, even with social media and like Instagram, like Sean Whalen talks about, like it's free advertisement. It's like billboards and billboards and billboards of, manage mode, manage mode, manage mode. And then you're
Mm-hmm.
on TV. So it's like how, you're getting inside people's minds where you are becoming recognizable for your brand. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
really important that, you're doing that and anticipating to get to 1 million, which I don't see you having a problem doing that, because you're investing in yourself, you're putting yourself out there, you're putting yourself out on, television and social media and
Mm-hmm.
all these things. Um, People are going to want to come to you because you're also friendly, Kirk. You're humble about what you do. And people like to work with those types of people who actually love what they do and they're humble about it. When you're just chasing the dollar, you're never going to make it. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
You got
Yep.
to chase your passion and the money, because of course money is important. Like I was always brought up like, oh, I just do it because I love it. Well, no, money is important, absolutely,
Yeah.
because
Yes.
the more money you make, the more people you can help.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Agreed.
and I just think that what you're doing it's inspiring, and I think it should be really inspiring to other people who want to have their business, because you literally can have your own brand in doing anything that you want to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did you
Yeah.
think of like your brand? Like, what does that mean to you?
That's a good question. I mean, like obviously you said like I'm the brand, but like just standing to what I say, not being cheesy, overselling, just being unauthentic.
Mhm.
That's definitely who I've always been. Not the opposite of what I just said, but just being like true to who I am. Like who I am on the commercials, who I am in person, what I'm
Yeah,
sharing on social media every single day. That's who I am. Just being Kirk. Like I am the brand, but just like being real. Like not feeling as though like, hey, for example, I got to lead off my commercial and it's up in the mountains and it's a handful of properties. And as I'm walking the property with them and they're telling me what they want done and the scope of the work, and like about the I'm like, well, when do you want this done? And somehow it came up that I'm the only person they're talking to, and I like my heart dropped. I'm like, really? So like, yeah, as long as we feel like your estimate is within reason, we have no reason to talk to anybody else.
wow.
And I was like, wow, I'm like, that's a lot of like responsibility,
Yeah,
pressure, trust. Like you just met me 14 minutes ago.
right,
And like, just because I had something on TV, had they not seen my commercial, I don't know who they would have called. But
right.
yeah, it's just like, and then he kept reiterating, we really like you. We hope this works out for both of us. And it's like, not to give, toot my own horn, but it's
Do
me,
it.
like, just being yeah, doot, doot, like,
Yeah, do it.
that it's I'm the reason they felt, comfortable only getting one estimate. I'm still waiting on their decision.
Right.
By the time this airs, hopefully I'm on site we're doing the work and getting it done and making a customer happy.
Heck yeah.
But
And like, again, you guys, that is because he's being his authentic self. He's not lying about what he's doing. He's not trying to like just jerk your chain. He's being himself. He's being real and offering a valuable service. And you guys, like, you need to understand that having your personal brand and having your authentic self within your personal brand is what people want. People out, in this world today with social media, most of us know who the fake ones are and who the real ones are. And people don't want fake anymore. They want to work with real people that have value that they can build this relationship with. And then they'll like recommend you to other people. And it's just, I still love, growing my clientele from word of mouth. I still think that is the most authentic thing. I don't care what anybody says. It's my favorite.
mhm, yeah,
you know um but I love that you can be successful just being you. You're proof of it you know
hmm
um
yep.
do you have like more things that you want to do, like with building your brand and putting yourself out there? Is there anything that is there something that scares you that you want to do in your business and you haven't yet?
I mean, the thing that scares me all the time is networking.
Yeah.
Like, naturally, I'm an introvert. My friends are like, "No, you're not. You're very extroverted." I was like, "In the right setting, I can be."
Uh-huh.
But I have a goal again, going back to my goal board, to go to 8 networking events this year. I've gone to 2, so I'm a part of an association for multifamily, complexes, and every month they have meet the property manager. And so I've been to 2, and I walk into this room, and no offense to these individuals, but they're loud, they drink a lot, they eat a lot, and that's not who I am. It's like I hardly drink, I go to bed early. So I'm in this room, I'm just like, I'm so uncomfortable, but I want to stay here for the hour, meet a few people,
Right.
and network the best I can, and essentially get the property list for that apartment group, and then
That's
one on one go meet people. That's where I'm a lot more comfortable, like we are here.
yeah.
So that's one that scares me, is like just networking. It's necessary evil,
Right.
but putting that kind of time in. But like I think what your question was, like, what other goals do I have for my brand and my business? Obviously, to scale it up to, I bought 2 territories, so ultimately a $2 million business. And then from there, kind of see, but like ultimately, my goal going beyond that is to buy businesses.
Mm.
I heard a podcast the other day on Real AF with Andy Frisella, and I
Love.
know somebody from past business life, and that's all they do. It's like I think she told me on the podcast there's 12 million businesses for sale in America, and
Wow.
majority of them will never be sold because, yeah, our parents or great grandparents have X business and their kids don't want it, and they just want to sell it.
Right.
It's like, I'm going back to what I said earlier. Like, I love what I'm doing. I love my business. I love
Right.
managed mode, but I
Right.
was three months away from a connection that would have probably taken me that route. And
Right.
it's like, I would have been able to, like, basically jumpstart,
Right.
5, 10, 20 years into a business that
Right.
already has clients, has
Right.
systems. And so
Right.
that's ultimately what I'm looking to do down the road.
Man, man, I love that. You guys, this is like
Yeah.
these are gold nuggets right here because
Yeah.
I think what you're seeing in the future, you're building your company, maybe you'll sell it someday, you know what I mean? But you're also buying other businesses that are going to set you up for success for everything that you do. You're going to be in it behind the scenes eventually,
Hmm.
and I love that you see that you are getting new information, you're learning, you're expanding because we have to like keep expanding our minds to grow into the future of ourselves constantly. And I totally get about being an introvert and extrovert, like I am an extrovert, but I'm also extremely much an introvert as well. And Daniel, my partner, he's actually interviewing right now, Steve Kukalo. You know who he is. He is,
Strong is a strong man, right? Or
yeah,
fitness guy. Yes.
yes, he is one of the top male bodybuilders in the world. And he has like such a fascinating story. And, he was at the fly-in in March. And like he was there and like Daniel's like all talking. 'Cause Steve used to be a firefighter. And so they both like caught on. And I was like, why didn't I introduce myself? I got so scared. So I'm still scared to do those things, right? Isn't that weird?
Yep. Yep.
No, but it's just
Yeah. Certain people, certain environments, you just like
right.
shrink. You
Yeah,
know,
totally.
or
'Cause
if I were to meet you in your hair studio, you're going to be like loud and bubbly and inviting. Like
yes,
that's not the same people. You know.
yes. I mean, I'm always the same, all in everything that I do. I just like I'm also like a type of person that like observes before I like talk to anybody. But like I don't need to do that because everybody is just they're just like you and me, they're just human beings. Like some have accomplished more than others, but when you have a passion and you're open and honest about it, like they want to talk to you too. But like, yeah, I mean, we still have these fears, right? And it's okay. Like I know that I own it. But I'm working on it, like I'm working on public speaking. I'm going to be doing my first public speaking event in June. And like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I'm like so nervous about it. Daniel gets to speak with me, which is really cool. But that's how we level up is just making ourselves really, really uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
you know?
Embrace it. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, totally, totally. So I love that, you might not want to be going to all these things, right? Because it's uncomfortable. It's, not, something that we want to like, do, but we have to do these things because you never know whose lives that you're going to touch. You never know what one person you're going to talk to that, could be like a multi-billionaire, doesn't look like it, doesn't talk like that, but
Hmm.
you get introduced to them in some weird conference and boom, you have all these businesses to work under, like you just never know. And it's so important to get uncomfortable and to show up consistently. And that's really,
Agree.
those goals are really amazing,
Hmm.
uh, and so how has this helped you? Let's talk about relationships for a little bit. My favorite thing
Okay.
in the whole world. So how has that helped you in your relationship with your friends? Now, I know you have a girlfriend now. I don't think you had a girlfriend last time I saw you. I'm not sure. But how has that helped you like really find your table? Meaning you guys as the audience, your table is your circle of friends that are really, really tight, really, really tight. And you don't really expand from much from that because these people that you build at your table are also going off into space with rockets to, make my life better, your life better. And it's this connection. Like, so having your company and doing what you're doing now, how has that changed your relationships?
I think the biggest thing is just like, I am who I am, you know,
Mm,
growing as this little introverted boy, growing into a man that's still introverted, but a little bit more extroverted. But like, this is me. I'm singling, like showing like my face and my body, like, this is who I am, you
yeah.
know, where I learned in my relationship back in 2021, where I sort of stepped back of who I was and left some of my friends, some of my activities to try to be with her.
Hmm.
And that's a red flag in itself, but a lot of my friends were, during and then after the fact could see that I wasn't being who I really was prior. I didn't go off-roading, I didn't golf, like I would stay up late, miss things in the morning. It's like that's not who I am. Like
Right.
if you're gonna date me, be my friend, be my business partner, I go to bed at 8:30. I wake up at 4. Fitness is important to me. I don't, these little things like, and that's kind of what I'm bringing into this relationship now is just like, all these not failures but lessons and experiences have gotten me to where I am now. Just like, hey, it's me. Like these are my stories. This is how I got here. And we've talked, Alyssa, who I'm seeing, is like we've been talking about this like I don't judge her past. She doesn't judge my past. Like, I'm interested in who you are now and who you want to
Absolutely.
become. You
Oh,
know?
so
Yes.
good.
Yeah. But it's like, yeah, it gives me chills too. It's like, I don't, honestly, we've all fucked up. Like, we've all made
Yeah.
mistakes, whether it's legal or personal or with our families, like,
Hmm.
whatever.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
but if you're not going to do it again, then I don't really care, you
Right.
know? And that's the thing where I'm at now. It's like, great, like we've all had issues, but it got us to be the Brittany you are today, the Kirk I am today.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's just grow from that.
I love that. Because, like our past makes us who we are today, but it also doesn't have to define us, with, the mistakes that we made, because it's like, you want to live your life with no regrets. I don't regret anything in my life, um, because it made me who I am today. And I want to tell you, Kirk, one of the first posts I've ever read about you was with breaking up with your ex-girlfriend and you guys were still at the same CrossFit gym. And for what you just said, you know, like 5 minutes ago of like, this is who I am, this is who I'm becoming, this is who she is, this is who I'm becoming. Like today, who you are today, you wouldn't even fucking ask that question. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
man.
You wouldn't have asked
Yeah.
that question. And like that, like right there, like I just realized like that was the first post I ever read of that you were questioning these things and like, and I was like, Kirk, just fucking go. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like just
Yes. I,
do.
I
And
remember that post now.
now,
That was in the Lion's Den.
yes.
Yes.
And
Yes.
now you are who you are. And like you would never ask that question again. Not that that question is bad, but you've grown so much from there because, you have your own business, you're doing what you want. It collectively builds your character of who you want to be. And so I think that is really beautiful
Mhm.
that I see that in you, and you also can reflect on that and see how much you have grown.
Tons. Yes.
Yeah.
Tons over the last year, tons over the last 3 years since joining the Lions Den, doing 75 hard. It just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah.
Like it's and I think I've shared it before on either a story, but I want to share it on a future post. Like there's been days I think we all have this moment where we're driving or sitting, and I just stop and think like I love my life.
Mm.
Like it's like it gives me chills again, but it's like truly like where I'm at right now, whether it's looking at the mountains or I'm with my dog or whatever it is like this is great.
Yes.
Like I'm really building something that I'm proud of and I'm enjoying.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That is so freaking rad. Like I love that so much because this is what life is all about. Even though you guys like, we're still going to hit walls, we're still going to hit, things that frustrates us and problems that we have to figure out. But because you grow into loving yourself, being honest, being vulnerable, letting go of the past, like how to navigate your life a little even better. Enjoy the life that you have even more because of who you have become. And I just think that, also having the mindset of recognizing that too, because we can work so hard and never recognize like we have this amazing life. There's so many of us that just are just in this rat race with their head down, just trying to get through our 9 to 5 job, like hating life, going home, hating this, like, putting crap in your body. When you change all those little things and you can change one thing at a time, it grows into something so beautiful. Because when you find that joy and you find that love for yourself and you find your passion of what you want to do, everything is so beautiful. Your light is turned on, your light is shining, and then you just want to put that onto others and help others and expand in that, journey with you. So cool.
Mhm.
That's
So
so
cool.
cool. So with that said, this was such a great story. I'm so excited that we went on this journey. I'm excited that, we brought up the relationship part because I totally forgot about that post until right now. And I was like, damn, he's grown a lot, and it's so cool. And you guys, most of our relationship with like Kirk and I, it's because of our coaching group and more social media. And we've had meetups. I think I've only been to one because, sometimes we're just all over the place, but or I'm gone traveling or something like that. But at least, we have gotten together and shared our stories with, people that want to expand around us and vice versa. And so it's just really cool. And so I want you to end this interview of like, if you were to tell yourself something that would change your life, ripping off the band-aid before you started a business. So some people that are really afraid of starting their business right now, like what would you tell them?
I mean, it's the cliche answer we hear a lot, but like there's never going to be a perfect time. You're never going to have it all figured out. There's never going to be the right answer.
Yeah.
You know, we all have days, even without being a business owner, we wake up and like, my day's perfectly mapped out. I'm going to do these different things. It's all going to be great. And then one phone call, one text, one snowstorm, and everything's off the tracks. Nothing gets done. But you look back in the day and you're like, that was a great day. I didn't
Yeah.
do anything I planned on doing, but you
Right.
know what? I can do it tomorrow, you
Right.
know? And that's
Right.
the biggest thing. It's like, shit, when I started this business, like I didn't know what a juniper plant was or how to, do these simple things now that I know how to do mindlessly, but you learn along the way, you
Right.
know? You look back on like, using a great example, but Andy Priscilla sold one product in his like first month and then two the next month. It's like he didn't know what he was doing, but he stuck with it. So just start and just don't give up because like I think we've all seen the meme on social media where some guy's digging for rocks and he stops like an inch before the diamonds. It's
Yeah.
like that ninth year or that ninth month, might be the golden year for you.
Yeah.
So just stick it out.
That is
really.
so funny that you said that, because the interview that's coming out before yours with Rainey, he talked about this exact same meme, but it's so true. Like, it's consistency. It's just starting. It's never ever giving up, because you could be one dig away from that gold mine and you would have
Mhm.
no idea if you just stopped. So I love that. I don't think
Yeah.
it's cliche at all, because like the simplest things are going to make us the best people that we can be. Like having a morning routine, for example, setting your day up to success. And like you said, a snowstorm you can get a bad text, but at least you started your day off right.
Mhm.
At least you started your day off with peace and love and with grace and space when everything that you do. So when those things come up, you're like, okay, cool. How am I going to handle this? I'm grateful for that, you know, because it's so
Yes.
easy for us to get frustrated and be like, fuck you, like, and just, give up. And, sometimes we're going to have those days and it is okay. Um, but I just, it's the simplest thing is being consistent. And it's just like, for the example, everyone can relate to this. When you're working out, most
Mhm.
days your workouts are gonna suck. You're gonna feel like you didn't do a good job. You didn't hit that number. You didn't do as many pull-ups as you wanted to do, whatever it is. Most of your workouts are going to suck because of the cycles of life, your emotions. Women have, their cycles, which, men have different cycles too. And then you hit that one workout where you feel really, really, really awesome.
Mhm.
And then the next day you suck again. But it's like consistently you show up, and then one day you're going to look in the mirror and you'll be like, well, shit, man, I got a 4-pack. I got a 2-pack. I got a 6-pack. I guess being consistent actually does work. You know,
Pays off. Yeah. You stick with it, you know?
I
And
love
fitness ties to so many different
Oh
things,
man, it really
you
does.
know?
It really
Truly. And I think for me going through college, I was, not to prolong our interview, but
Oh,
being
it's
a
fine.
college athlete taught so much,
Yeah.
going back to like time management and being persistent and being disciplined and consistent. Truly, like, yeah,
Yeah.
thankful for college athletics and what it taught me.
Did you play tennis in college?
I did tennis and I did track in
Oh,
college.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was cardio all the time.
Ugh.
Yeah, and it was in Florida. Like,
Oh my
yeah,
God. Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
was a
I
lot
don't
thin,
think
a
I
lot
could.
thinner back then.
Well, but you're in greater shape now. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes. Yep.
So,
Yeah,
like,
super happy with that. I feel great.
yeah. I mean, let's just talk about this real fast. Like, this is how, recognizable Kirk is everywhere he goes, right? So I was at this concert last summer, and I'm in the bleachers, and I see this redhead walking into the field. This is what I recognize about him, his red hair. But I also reckon he was wearing, like, I think you were wearing a No Bull shirt or something like that. And I
Yeah,
was,
I was.
that's a CrossFit brand. That's got to be Kirk, because I know he does CrossFit. He has red hair. So I texted him on Facebook. I'm like, hey, are you at this concert? He's like, yeah. Like I
I had
could
that same reaction. I'm like, where are you? I'm like,
it was amazing. But that's becoming an unrecognizable version of yourself from the past self, right? Like you're being a
Mhm.
better you, you're showing up, and like you said, like working out, put your mind into this growth pattern of like, fuck yeah, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. Getting up, putting your shoes on is a mental fight for me every day, and just like every day now that I'm working with Azaria, like I have all this lifting and then I have to do 30 minutes of cardio at the end. And I just literally want to die every day when I hit that cardio part.
But
But I
you
do
get you
it.
get off the machine or you get back on to your house and you probably feel great.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what it means to show up for yourself. Like, I got 30 more minutes. What's 30 more minutes of my life is either going to improve my life or I'm going to quit. And that means I'm just going to quit in this and quit in that. So, you show up, you dedicate yourself to what you're doing, stay consistent, and you don't give up. You learn to not give up in everything, every aspect of your life. And I just think you are showing up, doing that. So you guys, if Kirk is your people, reach out to him, talk to him, like ask him what he did, find out the baby steps of like his business. If you're curious, get curious, ask questions. Like, we are not here to shame you if you ask questions. Like, no question is dumb. I know Kirk would just be like, blah, 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 you know what I mean? So reach out to him and learn from him. See what he does for his morning routine. What is he reading? What is he studying? What podcast is he listening to? You can ask any one of my people that come on my interview. You can ask myself, like, show up with questions, show up with consistency, and do what you love, because doing what you love makes the world go round.
Amen.
Amen. So you guys, everything about Kirk will be in the link below. Thank you for listening to this amazing episode. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. And Kirk, it's pretty inspiring even for myself. And I can't wait to see what you do, man.
Same here. I'm glad we got the podcast under our belt.
Yeah.
And look forward to seeing your podcast grow, your business grow, and more events in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'll have to like come back a year from now and see where we're at. I'm finding like certain people I interview, I'm like, I want to interview them again in 1 year and see where they're at. I think that'd be really cool.
In your studio.
In my podcast studio. Yes.
I will not come back on in a year if you do not have a studio.
You got it. It's done.
It's on camera. It's on camera.
Yep, it is on camera, you guys. So happy Monday, you guys. Have an amazing week. Get out there, be consistent, never give up. Love you. Bye. I always do this.